Hi everybody, this is Father Moki coming to you from Good Shepherd Church in Wailuku, Maui. This is the February 11th, 2021 edition of Chicken Chat. Today I'm joined by Marcelino, Makani, and a new chicken, Maysum, who is the chicken whisperer. This shirt was given to me by Brian and Cindy Schuster, and it's normally I wear a medium shirt, but this is a large shirt, and what concerns me is it fits just right. So I think you guys are feeding me very well. Keep up the good work. Normally I have chickens in the background, no chickens today, but there are two minor birds back there who are pecking away at different things. I call them Harry and Myrna, after the Bank of Hawaii commercials from way back when I was in college. But don't worry, Harry and Myrna will not be chickens of the week because they're minor birds. And the rule is that in order to be a chicken of the week, you actually have to be a chicken. So with that, we'll move on. The first thing, of course, that we would like to do is to remember everyone on our prayer list. So let's take a moment of silence now and recognize everybody on our pastoral care prayer list. And all God's people said, Amen. I do have some interesting memes for you from Facebook this week. I've got several, so hang in there with me. The first, I thought this was interesting. It says, Hope has two beautiful daughters. Their names are Anger and Courage. Anger at the way things are, and courage to see that they do not remain the way they are. And that comes to us from none other than St. Augustine. Then this gentleman, Philip Berrigan, from a website called Following Jesus, says, the poor show us who we are, and the prophets tell us who we could be. So we hide the poor and kill the prophets. I think that's admonition for us not to do that. From Cynthia Bergeau, who I read quite a bit of when I went to spiritual direction training, she says, Jesus never asked anyone to form a church, ordain priests, develop elaborate rituals and institutional cultures, and splinter into denominations. His two great requests were that we love one another as I have loved you, and that we share bread and wine together as an open channel of that inter-abiding love. Something to bear in mind. Galileo. I do not feel obligated to believe that the same God who has endowed us with senses, reason, and intellect has intended us to forego their use. And this one, a Christian is a mind through which Christ thinks, a heart through which Christ loves, a voice through which Christ speaks, and a hand through which Christ helps. That's why we have a gospel mission of the Ka'ohana Kitchen and Cup of Cold Water and Queen Emma Athletic Club, so we can live into that last line. And then Linda Decker asked me a couple of days ago when the last time I walked the beach was, and I couldn't give her an answer because it's been so long. And so I share this meme with you. I need a timeout. Send me to the beach and don't let me come back till my attitude changes. So those are the memes that I decided to share with you this week. We do have a number of birthdays, 3 to be exact. Very Trinitarian birthday number this week. Riley Manuel, Lynn Alpuro and Megan Lindsay Alpuro. Happy birthday to all of you. Last week we had the Brown family doing the Ka'ohana Kitchen, and this week Bear Company will be in the Ka'ohana Kitchen feeding the hungry. I was here a couple of days ago, and I noticed that there was a lot of noise and very happy voices up here in the upper campus. And so I walked out of my office, and guess what I saw? I saw a bunch of kids and Lawrence Kauha'aha'a in the Queen Emma Athletic Club. They had reconvened, of course, with masks and appropriate social distancing, but they are back on our premises and doing our thing. And it was such a delight to hear the happy voices and the community of friends that has developed in that ministry. So that was really wonderful to see. A cup of cold water is not doing runs at the moment. We're waiting for everybody who does runs to get vaccinated so that we can be safe. But in the meantime, Deb Lynch and Susie Davis and Marilyn Hiroshima, who come and organize things in the storeroom, have provided Cora with basic food items and hygiene items. And so anyone in need who comes and knocks on the door normally can come up to the office, and we do give out things from a cup of cold water. So that ministry also continues, which I'm glad for, because it really that one meme about Christ and how we're his hands, I think we're embodying that, and that's a wonderful and beautiful thing. I did send out a Lenten letter. Some of you got it by email, some of you are getting it by snail mail if you don't have access to email, and it basically outlines what's going on during Lent. Let me reiterate it for you now. On Ash Wednesday, which is next Wednesday at 12 noon, we will distribute vials of ashes for you to take home and keep somewhere to remind you of your mortality, or if you'd like, once you get home, you can take them and put the sign of the cross on your forehead. It's up to you. We'll be here from 12 to 1 on Wednesday distributing those ashes. Also at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, we will have a Eucharist out here for Ash Wednesday in the upper campus courtyard at 5 p.m. We will have a distribution of ashes. Bishop Fitzpatrick has asked us not to have imposition of ashes on people's foreheads because of concerns about COVID, but we can distribute ashes. The following Tuesday, which I believe is the 23rd of February at 4 o'clock p.m., on Zoom, we will have centering prayer with the book, The 7 Last Words by Father James Martin. The session will be an hour long. We'll spend 20 minutes reading, 20 minutes discussing, and 20 minutes in silent prayer. So please join us. That's on Zoom. On Wednesdays on Facebook Live at 12 noon, we will have an Anglican Rosary. So be sure to join us on Wednesday the 24th and all the other Wednesdays in Lent. And then on Fridays, beginning February 19th, so not this week Friday, but next week Friday at 12 noon, please tune into YouTube or Facebook Live, and we will have Stations of the Cross. We are preparing booklets for the congregation, and they're going to turn out very nicely, so we'll have them available in the office for anyone who would like them, or if you'd like us to mail one to you, please let us know. We'll also have electronic copies available for everyone. On Saturday, February 20th, which is the Saturday after Ash Wednesday, we will reinstate outdoor worship at 5 p.m. here in the upper campus courtyard. We'll have all the readings and Holy Communion in both kinds. We are not able to reinstate Sunday worship in the sanctuary quite yet, but stay tuned, because as soon as we feel that it's reasonably safe for us to do that, we will reinstate that. That time is not yet, but stay tuned. We do have a new customary, or rather an updated customary, put out by Bishop Fitzpatrick with some changes in our worship practices. In the past, we were asked not to respond. Instead, when I would say the Lord be with you, we would have one person up in the pulpit saying, and also with you. Now we are permitted, everyone in the congregation, to make those responses through their masks. So we're told that processing in and out of the worship space is now acceptable, and kneeling is also acceptable. There was some concern that when one kneels, one might touch someone in front of them, but at Good Shepherd that's not an issue, because the pews in front of you are empty. So we can reinstate those practices. I do have some saints to tell you about that we'll be praying for this coming Sunday. The first is Thomas Bray, who was an English clergyman and abolitionist, and he helped establish the Church of England in Maryland, as well as the Society for the Propagation of Christian Knowledge and the Society for the Propagation of the Gospel in Foreign Parts. And back when he started it, America was a foreign part of England, of course. Then there is Charles Todd Quintard, who was an American physician and clergyman, and he became the second Bishop of the Episcopal Diocese of Tennessee. And because he was the Bishop of Tennessee, he was the first Vice Chancellor of the University of the South, also known to many of us as Sewanee. Then we have Agnes, Agatha, and Lucy. They were young Chinese women in the 1860s who professed their faith in an environment that was hostile toward Christians, and they were martyred for their profession of faith in China. And then, of course, we have Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass was an American social reformer. He was an abolitionist, he was an orator, he was a writer and a statesman. He escaped from slavery in Maryland, and he became a national leader of the abolitionist movements in both Massachusetts and New York. And he became famous for his oratory and incisive anti-slavery writings, and that's Frederick Douglass. So they will all be in our prayers this coming Sunday. So when you hear the names, now you know who we were praying for. I forgot. In the prayers this week, we are also going to pray for the Church of the Epiphany in Kaimuki, a rather special place to me because I was an associate there for a year when I taught at the Priory, and we are also praying for their rector, Chris Bridges, and his husband, Richard Harris. By the way, a couple of weeks ago, I made two mistakes that I knew of in Chicken Chat, and then we put out a challenge that if anybody could find the two mistakes that I knew I made, we'd give out a Starbucks gift card. Nobody came forth. The first one was the chicken of the week I called Simeona because of Simeon, who carried the cross of Christ. Well, then I went to do Station 5, I think it is, in the Stations of the Cross, and found out that the guy was named Simon of Cyrene, not Simeon. Simeon was the old man in the temple who said, "Lord, you now have set your servant free to go in peace as you have promised, for these eyes of mine have seen the Savior." So that was mistake number one. Mistake number two was we called Bishop Curry the Very Reverend when he is the Most Reverend. The Very Reverend is a title given to a dean of a cathedral or a dean of a seminary or a dean of a deanery. So Michael Curry is the Most Reverend. Those were the two mistakes. I'd also like to thank everybody for their words of congratulation on the 15th anniversary of my ordination. I still can't believe that it's been over 15 years now since I was ordained to the priesthood here in Wailuku, Maui, right in this parish building behind me, when I was chaplain at Seabury Hall and an associate priest here. So thank you all very much. The chicken of the week last week, please know that I have been in communication with the bishop, and he has agreed not to defrock me for naming the chicken of the week Bishop. In fact, all I got from him in response was an emoji of him cracking up with tears coming out of his eyes from laughter. So thank you, Bishop, for being a good sport, and thank you, Chicken Bishop, for being the chicken of the week. This week, finally, everybody, our chicken of the week is, well, we have two chickens of the week, actually. We have Ruth and Boaz, and Ruth and Boaz hang out here in the courtyard, and Boaz ensures that Ruth can eat from his fields, and he guards her while she's doing so, and they embody the Old Testament story of Ruth and Boaz. So for doing that, we name Ruth and Boaz the Good Shepherd chickens of the week. Not the minor birds of the week like Harry and Myrna back there, but chickens of the week. Thank you very much, everybody. God bless.